Hello and welcome to the Insurance Insights podcast. My name is Tarun Mathur. I'll be your host for today. I'm the co-founder and chief business officer for Policybazaar for Business. And today I'm honored to be joined by Ms. Anisha Udeshi, who is the senior director for global insurance and risk at Cipla. Cipla, formed in 1935 by Dr. K. Hamid, is today one of the largest companies and largest conglomerates across 80 plus countries, 1500 plus products and 50 plus dosages. And you're changing the entire, the landscape, right? Because what I've understood, and my source is Wikipedia, what I've understood that Cipla today has made healthcare affordable and accessible. And I think that's saying a lot. And as we kind of get into our chat with Anisha, I would want you to kind of reveal those little secrets and all those moments that formed Cipla as it is today. But thank you so much for joining me, Anisha.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you very much. I'm always delighted to be joining your podcast because it is very exciting and enjoyable for me as well.
So here we go. I think the question is very serious, and I think that only you would be the person to answer it. But what are the kind of commercial risks that pharma companies face today, and how do they differ from other industries in India?
I'm sure you know that we are a very compliance-driven industry, regulatory-driven industry, and we believe that our insurance solutions also should be compliant and sustainable. Where most of the time, or rather 99% of the time, we look at best of ROI when we are placing the insurance policies, and we want to get best of indemnification if there is a claim. So that is why we take 100 hours to evaluate our risk, profile our risk, and make sure that the solution that we are getting is compliant, sustainable, and regulatory driven solution. So if I can talk about one such cover, that is clinical trial covers. So when we do a clinical trials for any product, or rather a BAB studies for the product, we go to the depth of it. And you might be aware that in the earlier days of insurance, these covers were not freely available. So we had to go to international markets to get the covers, the wordings that we required, and that was the time when the kind of support, we started getting support from reinsurers. Then we had to make the reinsurance companies understand this requirement and allocate the capacity or fund the policies. So for us, everything that we do for an insurance solution has to be regulatory driven and vetted by the regulatory requirements.
Perfect. I think it's safe to say that Cipla as a company would not only have covered its own risk, but would have taught the Indian insurance companies a lot of different aspects of pharma that I think nobody would know about, I'd assume.
I don't want to take a credit of it, but yes, we have been pushing people, insurance companies, and we have been able to. We were very fortunate that we were able to get solutions from the providers. They understood the risk that we were talking about, and since we had the data, we were able to demonstrate that Cipla was doing everything and anything that would try to mitigate the risk, and insurance was only the residual mechanism of risk transfer. We were also considering that, somewhere in supply chain risk, we had deductible of almost 5 lakh rupees in the initial stages 20 years ago, when the deductible used to be a franchise of 10,000. We were the first company to introduce a deductible of 5 lakh rupees for our supply chain policy. And that was on the basis of data that we had. So we gave a lot of importance to data. Then the ROI, we were very cautious of the ROI that we were going to get, and the covers that we were trying to get. So that has been the kind of a process for us, because we don't think that everything should be transferred to insurance companies. You have to do the homework first, and then only residual risk gets transferred to the insurance companies.
Fantastic, fantastic. And every time I ask a question, you've got an example on it. But this time I'll ask you for an example and hope you have a question in it. So, how has an insurance product actually, helped you mitigate a risk or a pharma risk? And I know it's a very specific question, but there must be examples, because we hear about a lot of examples inside. But you've actually been on the forefront of developing products. Could you be able to kind of remount from your memory something which is relevant to the pharma industry and insurance product?
I'll give you a couple of examples, and I'm very excited to talk about this because it really, resonates with the kind of philosophy that we have, risk management philosophy that we have. Because if you recall, in 2007, the market had hardened, the property market had hardened, and suddenly the rates went up from like 1 to 5x, and then the risk had not changed. So what we did was we evaluated our internal processes. We saw that most of our processes were aqueous based and not solvent based in pharma plants. We did our exercise and we took a higher deductible of 15 crores for flexa perils. That way, we made sure that my balance sheet would not get exposed beyond 15 crores. Second, I could get a premium reduction from the insurance company because it was allowed to opt for higher deductible. So insurance companies were happy. And I also made sure that my act of God perils were not hampered because the deductible remained same for those perils. And suddenly my premium went down from 100 to 50. So this was something, it was like we were so agile, we were so mindful of the risk and the ROI that we were able to turn it around and make it profitable in a hard market at that time. So being agile is something which is very much required for a risk manager to understand. Like even during COVID times, Cipla was able to come up with a complete bouquet of treatment of patients. And that was the time when we went to insurance companies. We said, we can partner with you. We can partner with you and please allow this particular treatment to be onboarded as a policy, and you please start making those claims payable if people are opting for this doses. Insurance companies accepted that contention and we were able to help people. So again, we are saying that being agile is the time that is very important and very crucial for innovation as well as making it sustainable.
Very important, because see, when a peril happens, when it could be act of God, it could be COVID, it could be just general sickness of the family, that's the time you actually understand the extent of a particular risk. And I think you nailed it. You said that when in COVID, when you want to a treatment plan, how to kind of treat that treatment plan. And see, as insurance professionals, we keep forgetting that while we have a good understanding of a certain risk, some risk even we don't understand. And I think that's been how the insurance landscape has been changing, but it's changing further also, right? Do you feel that there's a lot of change in the insurance landscape in the past years? And I guess it's going to change even further. And how's Cipla preparing for it? What do you think you would kind of do as the future kind of opens its cards?
Thank you for asking this question, Tarun. Basically, I wanted to convey that to many of our peers and many of our underwriters that we have seen the normal traditional policies over a period of time, like maybe a all risk policy or a supply chain transit policy, sales turnover policy or a sales throughput policy. All those policies are good. I'm not at all saying that they are bad policies or they are not relevant policies. They are basic policies. Now, if I talk about those policies to my board or my directors or my management, what is it that I'm going to be talking about? I will say that, okay, here I have saved some few lakhs rupees and that's it. My business team or my management team would definitely not be concerned much about it, because as long as the insurance is available, full insurance, comprehensive insurance is available at a good rate, everyone is happy. But now, as a risk manager or an insurance transfer, we are practicing insurance transfer mechanism, we have to be more relevant to business. And we think that there are so many opportunities available when you be a part of business. Like, for example, you just mentioned that there are so many vendors that we use, contract manufacturers that we use. Now, when we evaluate those agreements, we feel that, that risk of product liability or maybe product defect can be transferred to them. But since these agreements are normal agreements, we are not giving them much of solution. So what we need to do, if we can just create a vendors program and provide a facility that can be used by them at some cost, then I'm transferring the risk to them and they are transferring the risk to the insurance company. So that is what is required in today's times. I don't think a normal or a traditional solution would be applicable at this point. When we are all growing, the industry is growing, especially pharma industry is growing, and as an organization we are growing. We are not only a pharma company, we have FMCG products, we have digital products, we have wellness products, and all those risks will need to be protected in a proper manner. So we keep on reaching out to the underwriters or capacity providers to give us a solution, and those solutions have to be more sustainable, more regulatory compliant, and of course getting us the best of ROI.
Wow, brilliant. I think you must be in the higher echelons of anybody who understands risk to its maximum, and I've met a few underwriters in the world, and for a long time I haven't been in a classroom, but it feels like that today. Not in the bad sense, in the sense that I genuinely was hanging on to every word you said, because understanding of risk is very rare. I can tell you that much in my experience, and I'm not saying that there's no talent in the industry, but I think the understanding of risk is a very meticulous exercise, and it kind of carries on for a long time. But I've learned a lot today, and thank you so much for imparting that bit of knowledge, at least to me. At least I have learned something. I don't know about how much the audience is going to take from it. And I just want to thank you. This has been an incredible episode for me. I'm so honored that I'm part of what I start believing is a Cipla team. And Cipla, as you guys know, is one of the largest conglomerates, and I can't tell you just how lucky I am sitting right beside you. But thank you so much. It was brilliant talking to you.
I appreciate, Tarun. I appreciate whatever you are saying, and thankful to you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks so much to the audience for tuning in. I think we've been educated, and I think we should carry this with us for a long time. So stay tuned in whenever we come in next. Thank you.